just received word. The last of the Song army has been decisively defeated in Gwangju. The Mongol invasion is over, and after 300 years of rule, the Song dynasty has fallen. We have indeed come to an end of an era. As China enters a new chapter in history, we feel it is important to remember our past. That's why me and my team have created a documentary of the Song dynasty to commemorate the good, the bad, and everything in between.
As we all know, Chinese history begins far before the Song dynasty, so we have brought in a historical expert to help put everything into context.
The Tang and the Sui dynasties helped in the thriving of the Song dynasty. For example, the Tang's effort to promote agricultural development, improve infrastructure, encourage foreign trade, and spread technology are all prime examples of the economic developments that led to the prosperity of the Song dynasty. After the collapse of the Han dynasty in the 3rd century CE, China fell into a state of anarchy for nearly 400 years, but Emperor Su Yangyi unified China through violence and repression. Because of the paper being invented as early as the 2nd century CE, poetry was a main part of their cultures. The two main religious beliefs are Confucianism and Buddhism. Buddhism came from India to China through the Silk Roads. Buddhism is present during the Sui dynasty, but is more popular through the Tang dynasty. During the era of the Tang dynasty, the dynasty expanded and dominated the neighboring nations, leading to similar cultures in Korea, Vietnam, and Japan.
The Song dynasty began after Taizu declared himself emperor in 960. The Song dynasty built on the innovation of the Tang dynasty, as well as bringing in new ideals. The central government was greatly expanded, providing a plethora of jobs within the bureaucracy. Emperor Taizu made efforts to expand educational opportunities, which aided in social mobility. We uncovered one of our old interviews we had with a bureaucrat. We're here with a government bureaucrat.
Hello, I'm Li Ching.
So tell us about your early childhood and how you got this job.
I was actually born into a lower class, but I was fortunate enough to get a good education and become a bureaucrat.
Would you say you like your job?
Right now we're working on a canal, and yes, I like it because we're getting paid pretty well for it.
The Song dynasty would be remembered not as a formidable military force, but an economic powerhouse. Song China went under proto-industrialization, a period where the country began to make more non-agricultural goods. China sold many goods, most notably silk and porcelain, along the Silk Road. The bureaucracy completed many projects, such as canals, that stimulated the economy. This economic boom is correlated to the great technological innovation of the Song dynasty. The greatest invention was gunpowder and the first firearms, which changed warfare forever. The first magnetic compass allowed sailors to easily navigate the seas. Woodblock printing gave way to the world's first paper money and banknotes. Breakthroughs in smelting allowed the discovery of coke, a way to remove the imperfections of raw coal. With these great strides, culture of the Song dynasty exploded. Confucian scholars produced an abundance of literature. Many poets such as Liu Yu and Jin Qi gained popularity for their works. The Song dynasty had many extravagant pieces of architecture, such as Buddhist pagodas, lavish palaces, and stone bridges. The Song dynasty's influence vastly expanded, and its neighbors undoubtedly felt its presence. Vietnam was not welcoming of the new power. Although the country had benefited off the back of Song innovation and trade, the Vietnamese fought hard to preserve their culture. We obtained some shocking footage from a Vietnamese conversation.
Man, the Song dynasty has taken over everything.
Yeah, I'm a merchant. I traveled to Japan and Korea, and they were almost identical.
Wow. We need to protect our culture, but how? How about a new written language?
You mean like speak the same, but it's written different?
Exactly.
It's a brilliant idea.
In addition, women held much higher roles in society in Vietnam and repelled being subjected to their husbands. Though the Vietnamese reject Chinese influence, the Japanese and Koreans absorbed it. Japan had already begun introducing Chinese customs into Japan during the Tang dynasty, such as bringing Confucianism and Buddhism into the country. The Japanese attempted to emulate Song China's politics in the Han period, though it was largely unsuccessful. In spite of failed politics, culture flourished, notably with the writing of the tale of the Genji, which almost all modern stories take the root from. The Song dynasty had even greater influence with Korea, with it shared a land border. The Koreans adopted a new, centralized form of government. The population adopted Confucianism and Buddhism beliefs. The educated elite studied Confucian philosophy. The two languages began to blend words, but the structural differences of the two created issues. The bureaucracy of the Song, however, was not adopted in Korea, in which the aristocracy remained in control.
Back in the Song dynasty, social structures went under change. Confucian ideals became popular, in which society is seen as fundamentally hierarchical and that everyone should be subject to their superior. This included the societal norm that women were subordinate to their husbands. This restricted women's contribution in society. They were often mistreated, as seen here from this graphic recovered video. We sat down with the young woman for her thoughts on the matter.
Hey, we're here with a female citizen of Hangzhou. Wait, let me make sure your feet are binding. Alright, looks good. So, how do you feel about the new foot binding practice?
I mean, it hurts and it's a little uncomfortable, but, I live in a Confucius household, and it's my duty to my husband, so.
You feel that women's role in society have been limited?
I do, but, because I always wish I wanted to be a merchant like my dad, especially now that they got that new magnetic compass, and they improved the rudders of boats and stuff.
The trade routes that brought wealth to the Song dynasty also brought new religion. Buddhism found its way into China from Vietnam. Confucianists and Taoists were more tolerant of Buddhism than previous dynasties. Buddhist doctrines and Taoist traditions combined to create Chan Buddhism, which placed an emphasis on meditation. This led to the immense growth of the faith, finding many willing converts. The trade routes also brought new immigrants. A vast diversity of people, from Arabs to Indians to Japanese, all inhabited the major cities. The population of the Song dynasty boomed, with the population nearing 100 million, and boasting few cities with over 1 million people. Even with its prosperity, the Song, like all empires, had its flaws. The dynasty displayed military weakness after the previous capital of Kaifeng was captured in 1127, and a considerable amount of land was lost before the recent Mongol invasion began. We held an interview with a top military official.
Okay, I'm here with a top Song military general. Yo, what up? My name is Dale Chang. General Chang, how do you feel about an impending nomadic invasion from the north?
I feel like we're very educated on our enemy and we know where they are at all times. They're not a very imposing threat. Yeah, over here. Keep going.
General, how did you obtain this position?
So back in grade school, me and the emperor were kind of buds, and I rose up in the bureaucracy. And one day, he asked me if I wanted to be a general. I was mostly focused on philosophy and stuff like that, but he offered me the job, so I took it.
Okay, fair enough. Do you feel that you have the experience to defend against the Mongols?
No, you don't really need experience for this job. It's kind of easy. I feel like the Mongols aren't a very big threat. They're not very dangerous to us.
In the late 13th century, the Mongols launched an invasion of the southern Song dynasty. With a weak military and a dwindling wealth paying for a bureaucracy it could not afford, the empire came crashing down on all sides. Hangzhou was captured in 1276, and finally, in 1279, the last of the Song army was defeated. The impact the Song dynasty had on humanity is immense, and it will never be forgotten.